the first little red circle here on the left is what it was in July of 2000. You can see it's above 6%, and where it is right now. So
Right.
if we just went on that, and I know that the federal funds rate is not the piece that drives the home loan rates, but if we look at that, Art, we're really in a better situation today than we were 20 years ago.
Well, that's exactly right. And of course, you're correct. I mean, as we keep, pounding this message, the Fed funds rate is not directly correlated to mortgages, but obviously it is a factor. But the Fed funds rate is entirely different. It's an overnight borrowing rate among member banks of the Federal Reserve System. But yet, overall, as this chart portrays, I think pretty well, it is an indicator of where rates, were back then and even are now. What's interesting about this chart is, back in 2001, it was the Fed fund target rate was higher than it is now. Now, anybody who's kind of got a handle on the history of mortgages and home prices will say, well, yeah, but it was okay at 6% back then because home prices were probably half what they are now, maybe a third of what they are now. So obviously that does make some sense. But then what we saw happen there is as they lowered the Fed funds rate, and got down pretty low into 2004, then of course things kind of got overheated. Inflation was becoming more of an issue. So as you can see there, then the Fed funds target rate started to get ramped up pretty quickly, and you see that pretty steep, trend back up, and it still got up just slightly above where we're at now, right around 2007, 2008. And of course, we all know what happened in 2008. We had the mortgage and real estate crash. And so what does the Fed do? They reacted to that, had to create liquidity, and they just, drove that target Fed funds rate almost to zero. And of course, that eventually did kind of get the economy and the markets to recover. But look how long it was just flat. I mean, we had essentially had almost a zero Fed funds target rate for many years, about 7, 8 years. And then, of course, things were getting a little heated again.